The massive ships appeared on a quiet Tuesday morning. They emerged from the darkness beyond Mars, their metal hulls gleaming like polished obsidian in the sunlight. Earth's deep space monitoring stations picked up the signals first. Hundreds, then thousands of vessels, each larger than the largest human cities. Admiral James Walker stood in the Global Defense Command Center, his weathered face illuminated by the blue glow of holographic displays. Around him, military personnel from every nation worked with practiced efficiency, their previous rivalries forgotten in the face of this new threat. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Lisa Thompson, her fingers dancing across the control panel. "It's being automatically translated." The message that boomed through the command center made everyone freeze. "Peoples of Earth, I am King Thorax, supreme ruler of the Stellar Empire. Your primitive world has been chosen to join our glorious domain. Surrender now, and you may serve as our subjects. Resist and face extinction. You have 1 Earth hour to comply." Admiral Walker's jaw tightened. In his 30 years of service, he had never faced a threat of this magnitude. But humanity had not survived countless challenges by backing down. "Send our response," he ordered, his voice steady. "Exactly as planned." The message Earth sent back was simple. "We decline your generous offer. Earth belongs to its people. We suggest you leave our solar system immediately." In the throne room of his flagship, King Thorax received Earth's response with disbelief. His crystalline crown pulsed with angry red light, matching his growing rage. In 10,000 years of conquest, no species had ever dared to refuse him. His advisors cowered as he rose from his ornate throne. "Impossible," he roared, his voice echoing through the chamber. "These primitives dare to defy me. They haven't even colonized their own solar system." What King Thorax didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. Deep beneath Earth's oceans and mountains, hidden from orbital observation, lay a network of advanced defensive installations. Satellites that appeared to be simple communication relays housed powerful energy weapons. Seemingly ordinary cargo ships carried missile systems capable of reaching deep space. The king's response came swiftly. "You dare reject the mercy of the Stellar Empire? Then watch as I destroy your pathetic defenses. Let this be a lesson to all who would defy their rightful ruler." The alien fleet moved into attack formation, their weapons charging with ominous purple light. King Thorax expected the humans to panic, to beg for mercy as so many species had done before. Instead, Admiral Walker gave the order that would change the course of galactic history. "Operation Lighthouse is now active. All units, execute Plan Delta." Across Earth, hidden facilities hummed to life. The ocean floors lit up with powerful energy signatures as underwater bases activated their shields. Mountain ranges split open to reveal massive ion cannons. Even the moon, which had appeared barren and lifeless, suddenly bristled with defensive arrays. The first alien ships to enter Earth's orbit encountered something they had never faced before: a unified human resistance backed by technology that had been purposefully hidden for this exact moment. The king watched in shock as his first wave of ships encountered far more resistance than their scans had indicated possible. Human vessels, emerging from underground bases and hidden orbital platforms, engaged his fleet with unexpected effectiveness. "My king," his tactical officer reported, fear evident in his voice, "the humans, they're not using predictable attack patterns. Each of their defensive units appears to be acting independently yet coordinated. Our standard conquest protocols are proving ineffective." As the first day of combat drew to a close, King Thorax faced an uncomfortable reality. Not only had Earth survived his initial assault, but they had also managed to destroy several of his ships. For the first time in his long reign, he felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. In the Global Defense Command Center, Admiral Walker allowed himself a small smile. "Send word to all commands. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for Phase 2. Let's show them why you don't threaten Earth." The real battle was just beginning. and humanity was ready to teach the Stellar Empire a lesson they would never forget. The morning after Earth's first victory, King Thorax launched what he called his Planet Breaker Assault. Thousands of warships moved forward, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. But humanity was far from finished with their surprises. Multiple enemy ships approaching, sir, Lieutenant Thompson reported in the command center. They're using a different formation this time. Admiral Walker nodded calmly. Just as we expected. Execute Operation Steel Rain. Hidden in Earth's orbit, hundreds of specially designed satellites activated at once. These weren't the simple communication devices they appeared to be. They were part of humanity's most advanced weapon system. Each satellite split open like a flower, revealing clusters of quantum-guided missiles. King Thorax watched from his command throne as the human defenses came alive. Impossible, he shouted as his tactical display filled with new threat warnings. Their technology level was supposed to be primitive. The space around Earth lit up like 1,000 suns as humanity's defense grid engaged. The alien ships found themselves caught in a deadly crossfire. Their shields, designed to stop simple projectiles and energy weapons, struggled against Earth's quantum-guided missiles that could change direction mid-flight and target weak points in their armor. Down in the underground base near the Pacific Ocean, Commander Robert Miller led his team of pilots to their hidden fighters. These weren't ordinary aircraft. They were space-capable vessels disguised as regular military jets. As hangar doors opened in the sides of mountains and under the seas, hundreds of Earth's best pilots took to the skies. "Remember your training," Miller said over the secure channel. "They may have numbers, but we have something better. We're fighting for our homes." The Earth fighters proved to be another nasty surprise for the alien fleet. Unlike the rigid, predictable attack patterns of the Empire's forces, human pilots flew with creativity and daring. They weaved between the massive alien ships, using their smaller size and greater maneuverability to devastating effect. On his flagship, King Thorax's rage grew as reports of losses kept coming in. His own ship rocked with impacts as Earth's defenses proved far more capable than anyone had predicted. A direct hit from one of the quantum missiles breached his flagship's outer shields, something that hadn't happened in centuries of conquest. "My king," his chief advisor said nervously, "perhaps we should." "Silence," Thorax roared. "I will not be defeated by these primitives. Bring the planet killer online." But as the massive weapon began to power up, Earth revealed yet another card they had been holding. Deep in the Antarctic ice, a special electromagnetic pulse cannon had been waiting for just this moment. The weapon fired, sending out a pulse of energy specifically tuned to the frequencies used by the Empire's ships. The alien fleet's systems flickered and failed. Ships began drifting, their power cores temporarily overloaded. The mighty planet killer weapon sputtered and died before it could fire. Admiral Walker allowed himself a grim smile. "Now, Commander Miller, show them what those new fighters can really do." Earth's fighters swarmed the disabled alien ships. Their weapons, designed specifically to penetrate Imperial armor, cut through the powerless vessels with surgical precision. The proud fleet of the Stellar Empire was being torn apart by a world they had thought would be an easy conquest. In the chaos of battle, King Thorax's flagship took another direct hit. Warning alarms blared through the command deck as systems began to fail. For the first time in his long life, the king felt real fear. "Full retreat," he ordered, his voice shaking with rage and disbelief. "Fall back beyond their moon. We must regroup." As the alien fleet retreated, leaving behind hundreds of destroyed ships, cheers erupted in command centers around Earth. But Admiral Walker remained focused. He knew this was just the beginning. "Good work, everyone," he announced over the global command network. "But don't celebrate yet. They'll be back, and next time they'll be ready for these tricks. Start preparing Phase 3. It's time to take the fight to them." The battle for Earth was far from over, but humanity had proven one thing. They would not be conquered easily. The next phase would show the Empire that humans weren't just good at defending their home. They could also strike back. 3 days after pushing back the alien fleet, humanity launched its boldest move yet. Operation Kingfisher wasn't just about defending Earth. It was about taking the fight directly to the enemy. In a secret underground base in the Rocky Mountains, Captain Mark Jones stood before his hand-picked team of 20 Special Forces soldiers. They represented the best fighters from different nations, chosen for both their combat skills and their ability to adapt to impossible situations. "This mission is simple but dangerous," Captain Jones said, pointing to the holographic display of the alien flagship. "While their fleet is still recovering from our defense, we're going to sneak aboard their command ship and gather intelligence about their weaknesses." The plan was anything but simple. Earth's scientists had studied the wreckage of destroyed alien ships and created special stealth suits that could fool Imperial sensors. The team would approach in a captured alien shuttle, pretending to be part of their own repair crews. High above Earth, King Thorax was facing the first real crisis of his 1,000-year reign. How did these humans hide such advanced weapons? He demanded, smashing his fist against his throne's armrest. Why didn't our spies detect any of this? His advisors trembled before him. None dared to suggest what was becoming obvious. They had underestimated humanity completely. Meanwhile, Captain Jones's team approached the Imperial flagship in their stolen shuttle. Each soldier wore the newly designed stealth suits, their hearts pounding but their hands steady on their weapons. "Remember," Jones whispered over their secure comms, "we need to find out how the king maintains control over his empire. There must be a reason why no one has ever successfully rebelled against him." The team's first surprise came when they successfully docked with the flagship. The aliens were so convinced of their superiority that their security was focused on stopping attacks from outside, not infiltrators who were already inside their ships. Moving silently through the massive vessel's corridors, the human team discovered something fascinating. The alien crew seemed terrified of their own leaders. Every time a higher-ranking officer passed by, the regular crew members would practically shake with fear. "This isn't normal," Lieutenant Amy Parker, the team's behavior expert, observed quietly. "Even in strict military hierarchies, there's usually some basic trust between ranks. This looks more like pure terror." They got their answer when they reached the ship's main data center. While half the team stood guard, the others hacked into the Imperial database using tech developed from studying captured alien computers. What they found shocked them all. The king's absolute control wasn't based on loyalty or even military might. It was based on advanced technology that could cause instant pain to anyone who disobeyed him. Every member of his empire had been implanted with special devices that kept them in line. "This is why no one rebels," Captain Jones said grimly. "He's not really a king. He's a prison warden with the biggest prison in the galaxy." But the team also discovered something else. The king's supposedly divine powers were nothing but advanced technology stolen from other conquered civilizations. His personal force field, his ability to punish disobedience, even his long lifespan, all of it came from stolen tech. Just then, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. "We've been detected," Lieutenant Parker warned. "We've got what we came for," Captain Jones ordered. "Fall back to the shuttle, and make sure that data gets back to Earth even if we don't." The team fought their way back through the corridors, their advanced weapons proving more than a match for the surprised alien guards. Their stolen shuttle launched just as the flagship's hangar doors began to close. As they sped back to Earth, Captain Jones sent their gathered intelligence through their quantum-linked communicator, a device impossible for the aliens to intercept or block. Admiral Walker received the data personally. As he read through it, a small smile appeared on his face. "So the Almighty King is just a common thief with good tools," he said. "Send word to all commands. Prepare to broadcast this information to every species in the Empire. It's time to show everyone who their king really is." The next phase of humanity's plan was about to begin. and it would shake the stellar empire to its very foundations. The truth about King Thorax spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Using the communication codes stolen during Operation Kingfisher, Earth's military began broadcasting proof of the king's deception to every corner of the empire. In the Global Defense Command Center, Admiral Walker watched as the messages went out. On massive screens, they showed the truth. The king's divine powers were fake, his abilities stolen from the very species he had conquered over thousands of years. "Look at this," Lieutenant Thompson said, pointing to one of the screens. "The king's personal shield technology, stolen from the crystal beings of the Frost system. His pain control devices, taken from the medical technology of the Cloud Worlds." The broadcasts included detailed technical information about the controlled implants every Imperial citizen was forced to wear. More importantly, they included instructions on how to disable these devices. King Thorax's reaction was immediate and violent. His flagship's command room shook as he destroyed everything within reach. "Find out who is responsible for these lies," he screamed. "Increase the control signals. Make them suffer." But his commands had an unexpected effect. As millions of beings across the empire tried to increase the pain levels of their subjects, the control system became overloaded. Across thousands of worlds, the implants began to fail. "Sir," reported Commander Miller from his fighter squadron near Jupiter, "we're picking up strange readings from the Imperial fleet. Their ships, they're fighting each other." Admiral Walker nodded. This was exactly what they had hoped would happen. Without the fear of punishment, many of the Empire's soldiers were turning against their officers. Centuries of cruel treatment were finally being paid back. On a mining world at the edge of the Empire, alien workers ripped out their control implants and overtook their overseers. In the shipyards of conquered worlds, slave engineers disabled the weapons of Imperial warships. Throughout the galaxy, the Empire's iron grip began to crack. King Thorax's fury grew with each report of rebellion. "Launch everything we have at Earth," he ordered. "If we can't control them, we'll destroy them all." But his commanders were no longer so quick to obey. Many had seen the proof that their king was nothing but a thief who had stolen his power from others. Some began to openly question his orders. In response, the king did something desperate. He activated an ancient weapon system, one so powerful it could supposedly crack a planet in half. As his flagship turned toward Earth, the weapon began to power up. But humanity had planned for this too. During the infiltration of the flagship, Captain Jones's team had planted special devices throughout the ship's systems. Now those devices activated. "Now, Dr. White," Admiral Walker commanded. In a hidden laboratory beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Tom White, Earth's leading expert on alien technology, pressed a single button. The devices planted on the flagship began broadcasting a simple code, one that turned all the stolen technology against itself. The effect was spectacular. The king's personal shields flickered and died. The mighty weapon he had tried to activate shut down. Even his crown, the symbol of his power, went dark. "What's happening?" King Thorax screamed as his technological advantages failed one by one. "What have these humans done?" Admiral Walker's voice came through every speaker on the flagship. "We've done what no one else dared to do, Your Majesty. We've shown the galaxy that you're nothing but a common thief hiding behind stolen powers." The response from the Imperial fleet was immediate. Ships began turning their weapons toward the flagship. Officers who had suffered under the king's cruel rule for centuries saw their chance for revenge. "Sir," Lieutenant Thompson reported with a smile, "we're getting messages from at least 50 different species. They're all offering to join us against the Empire." Admiral Walker looked at the tactical display, where more and more Imperial ships were turning against their king. "Tell them all the same thing," he ordered. "The time for fear is over. Now it's time for justice." As the king watched his empire crumble around him, he finally understood his mistake. He had spent centuries building his power through fear and stolen technology, but he had never faced an enemy like humanity. a species that refused to be afraid and had the creativity to turn his own weapons against him. The final battle was about to begin, and this time, Earth wouldn't be fighting alone. The time had come for humanity's boldest move yet. Admiral Walker gathered Earth's military leaders to share a plan that seemed impossible. They would pretend to surrender. A fake surrender. General David Stone asked in disbelief. "The king will never believe it after everything we've done." Admiral Walker smiled. "That's exactly why he'll believe it. We've hurt his pride so much that he desperately wants to believe in our defeat." The plan was dangerous but clever. Earth would appear to give up, letting the king think he had finally broken humanity's spirit. Meanwhile, Special Forces teams would secretly plant a new weapon throughout his fleet, a computer virus designed by Earth's best programmers. The surrender message was carefully written to appeal to the king's massive ego. "Great King Thorax, your power is too mighty for us to resist. We humbly request mercy and offer our complete surrender." In his flagship, King Thorax watched the message with suspicious eyes. His advisors were divided. Some thought it was a trick. Others believed the humans had finally realized their mistake. "They're lying," one advisor warned. "These humans have proven too clever." But the king raised his hand for silence. No, they'd finally learned their place. "Prepare for my victory speech to the galaxy." What the king didn't know was that Operation Shadow was already in motion. While he celebrated, small stealth ships carried teams of human computer experts to key ships in his fleet. Captain Jones led one of these teams, using the confusion of the surrender to slip past Imperial defenses. "Plant the virus and get out," he ordered his team. "And remember, we only get one shot at this." The virus was humanity's masterpiece of electronic warfare. It was designed to spread through the Empire's quantum communication network, attacking the systems that controlled their advanced technology. Most importantly, it would disable the king's personal shield generator. Lieutenant Thompson monitored the operation from Earth. "Sir, the virus is spreading faster than we expected," she reported to Admiral Walker. "The Imperial ships are so connected that they're infecting each other." The king was in the middle of his victory speech when the first systems began to fail. Lights flickered throughout his flagship. Weapons went offline. And most importantly, his personal shield generator started to weaken. "What's happening?" he demanded, his voice shaking with rage and fear. His chief engineer's voice came back panicked. "My king, some kind of human computer code is spreading through our networks. It's shutting down everything." That's when Admiral Walker revealed the trap. The entire Earth fleet, which had appeared to be standing down, suddenly powered up their weapons. They were joined by ships from dozens of formerly enslaved species, all eager for revenge against their oppressor. "Now," Admiral Walker commanded, "all ships, execute attack pattern Delta." The king watched in horror as his fleet fell into chaos. Without their advanced systems, the Imperial ships were easy targets. His own flagship's shields were failing, leaving him vulnerable for the first time in centuries. Captain Jones and his team made their final move, fighting their way to the flagship's main control room. They had one mission: capture the king alive. "You dare!" King Thorax screamed as human soldiers burst into his throne room. "I am divine. I am eternal." "No," Captain Jones replied calmly. "You're just a thief who stole better technology than yours. And now you're under arrest." The king tried to activate his personal weapons, but nothing worked. The virus had disabled everything he had stolen over the centuries, leaving him powerless. As human soldiers secured the throne room, Admiral Walker's voice boomed through the ship. "Attention all Imperial forces. Your king has been captured. His power is gone. You are free." Across the galaxy, cheers erupted from countless worlds as beings realized their torture devices were dead, their oppressor was captured, and their long nightmare was finally over. The mighty stellar empire had fallen, brought down not by brute force, but by human cleverness and the courage to stand up against a tyrant. But the hardest part was still to come. deciding what to do with a king who had terrorized the galaxy for centuries. The capture of King Thorax and shockwaves through the galaxy. As human soldiers led him through his own flagship in handcuffs, thousands of ships gathered around Earth to witness his defeat. The once mighty ruler now looked small and afraid without his stolen technology. Admiral Walker arranged for the king's trial to be broadcast to every world in the former empire. "Let everyone see justice being done," he ordered. "No more secrets, no more lies." The Great Hall of the United Nations in New York was chosen for the trial. Representatives from over 100 alien species filled the room. Many had traveled for weeks just to see their former tormentor face justice. Captain Jones stood guard as the king was brought in. The alien ruler's crystal crown was gone, his elaborate robes replaced by simple prison clothes. Without his technology, he looked like any other member of his species. "How did you do it?" the king finally asked Jones, his voice barely a whisper. "How did humans defeat me when so many others failed?" "Because we don't believe in false gods," Jones replied. "And we don't bow to bullies, no matter how powerful they seem." The trial revealed the full extent of the king's crimes. Dr. White presented evidence showing how each piece of the king's divine powers had been stolen. Lieutenant Thompson showed records of millions of beings tortured through the control implants. On the water world of Aquarius, one alien witness testified, "He stole our gravity control technology and used it to sink our cities when we refused to obey." Another witness, a tall being made of living crystal, spoke next. "From my people, he took our energy shield technology. Then he used it to protect himself while bombing our worlds into submission." The king's own advisors, now free from their control implants, turned against him. They revealed how he had maintained his power through fear and stolen technology for over 1,000 years. As the evidence mounted, Admiral Walker noticed something strange. The king seemed to be getting smaller, older. Without the life extension technology he had stolen, his true age was starting to show. "Please," the king begged as the trial neared its end. "Show mercy. I'll give you anything you want." The head judge, a respected human justice, leaned forward. "You didn't show mercy to the billions you enslaved. But we will not lower ourselves to your level. You will face justice, not revenge." The sentence was announced. The king would spend the rest of his natural life in prison. His stolen technology would be returned to its rightful owners. And most importantly, he would watch as his former empire transformed into something new, a union of free worlds. But humanity wasn't done yet. Admiral Walker stepped forward with an unexpected offer. "Despite your crimes," he said to the king, "Earth is willing to help your people adjust to life without their technology. We'll teach them to build their own advances, not steal from others." The king's people, watching the broadcast, saw something they had never expected: mercy from the strong to the defeated. Many wept openly, having never experienced such kindness. As guards led the former king to his cell, Captain Jones turned to Admiral Walker. "Sir, do you think he ever understands what he did wrong?" Walker watched the fallen ruler shuffle away. "Maybe not. But everyone else does. That's what matters." Throughout the galaxy, former imperial worlds began to rebuild. Earth's scientists worked to help species reclaim their stolen technology. The control implants were removed, and for the first time in centuries, billions of beings knew true freedom. In his cell, the king watched on a small screen as his empire transformed. He saw his former subjects learning to govern themselves. He watched as Earth helped them build their own technologies instead of stealing from others. And finally, as his natural age caught up with him, he understood his greatest mistake. He had tried to rule through fear and theft, while humans had won through courage and justice. The galaxy would never forget how humanity had not just defeated a tyrant, but had shown a better way forward. The age of the stellar empire was over. The age of cooperation and justice had begun. 1 year after King Thorax's trial, Earth had become the center of a new galactic civilization. The United Nations building in New York, once used for the king's trial, now hosted representatives from over 500 alien species. They came together to form something unprecedented, the Galactic Council of Free Worlds. Admiral Walker stood at the grand opening ceremony, looking at faces and forms from across the galaxy. Some floated like clouds, others shimmered like crystals, and still others towered 3 times human height. All were equals now, no longer slaves to the Empire. "Who would have thought," Lieutenant Thompson said, standing beside him, "that when they came to conquer us, they'd end up helping us unite the galaxy instead?" The changes across the former empire were remarkable. The Crystal People had reclaimed their shield technology and were teaching others how to develop their own versions. The Cloud Beings shared their medical knowledge freely, helping heal the damage done by centuries of Imperial control implants. Captain Jones, now Commander Jones, led Earth's new Galactic Defense Force. His team trained pilots and soldiers from different species, teaching them to work together. Their first mission was helping worlds defend themselves against any future tyrants. "The key is working together," Jones told his mixed crew of humans and aliens. "That's how Earth defeated the King, not by being stronger, but by being smarter and working as one." Dr. White had perhaps the most interesting job of all. He led a team of scientists from Earth and other worlds, studying the King's stolen technology and returning it to its rightful owners. But they did more than just return it. They improved it through cooperation. "Look at this," he said one day, showing Admiral Walker a new device. The Crystal People's shields combined with Cloud Being healing technology. Working together, they created something better than either had alone. The former king, now just a prisoner named Thorax, lived long enough to see his empire transform. Earth's mercy had surprised many, but it proved to be the wisest choice. Other species saw that humans could be strong without being cruel, powerful without being tyrants. In the new council chamber, Admiral Walker addressed the gathered representatives. "1 year ago, we faced extinction. Today, we stand together as friends and allies. The stars are no longer filled with fear, but with hope." The changes weren't just political. Trade flourished between worlds. Cultural exchanges led to new forms of art and music. Scientists from different species made breakthrough discoveries by combining their knowledge. Even Earth changed. Human cities now hosted alien visitors and residents. Children played with friends from across the galaxy. Earth's military, once focused only on defense, now helped protect trading routes and rescue ships in trouble. "Remember when they demanded our surrender?" Commander Miller asked during a celebration. "Now they're asking for our help building schools and hospitals." The former Imperial planets faced challenges, of course. Some struggled to govern themselves after centuries of control. But Earth and other free worlds sent teachers and advisors, helping them learn democracy and self-rule. In his final days, the former king asked to speak with Admiral Walker one last time. "I still don't understand," he said, his voice weak with age. "You could have destroyed us all. Why didn't you?" Walker's answer was simple: "Because that's not who we are." Humanity learned long ago that real strength isn't about causing fear, it's about bringing hope. As news of the king's death spread across the galaxy, no one celebrated. Instead, worlds marked the day by remembering how close they had come to endless tyranny and how the courage of one planet had changed everything. The final entry in Admiral Walker's personal log summed up humanity's greatest victory. "We won more than a war. We showed the galaxy a better way. Our children will grow up in a universe where different species work together, where strength serves justice, and where no one needs to bow before false gods or stolen power." That's the real victory, not defeating an enemy, but making a friend of everyone who was once afraid. The stars had never seemed brighter, and humanity's adventure among them was just beginning.